welcome back to the series on trigonometry for 5.2 mathematics. In this video we are going to look at some of the applications of Pythagoras. We have been looking at Pythagoras in the last few videos and we're going to continue that in this one, and we're going to look at some of the applications, some of the things that we're going to lead into trigonometry to be able to do in some future videos. Now, when we are applying Pythagoras in terms of word problems and situations, we need to do a couple of different things. So, the first thing that we're going to do is identify and draw any triangles that are needed, any right-angled triangles that are needed. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. Then we're going to label our triangle, or triangles, depending on how many we need. So there's the first two things that we need to do. Then we're going to actually use the theorem to solve the problem, or to solve the mathematics, or solve for the unknown. Then the fourth thing that we're going to do is actually answer the question. Usually in sentence form. So it's usually in a sentence. And then the last thing that you want to do is you actually want to check for reasonability. So you want to make sure that your answer makes sense. So if you have a couple of sides that say are 3 meters and 4 meters, you don't want the third side to be 27 meters. Okay, it needs to make sense within the context of the question. Let's look at some examples. We have a couple of examples here. Our first one, we have two flagpoles that are 15 meters apart, so that's going to be an important piece of information. A rope links the top of both poles, so there's another piece of information. And then we want to find the length of the rope if one is 9 meters high and the other is 29 meters high. So we actually want to find the length of that rope. So we've highlighted some bits and pieces out of that problem that we're going to need. So here's our diagram. We've got our diagram there. We can see the flagpoles. You can see that there's a flagpole that's 9 meters high. And there's a flagpole that is 29 meters high. And then they are 15 meters apart. Now that 15 meters is the same at this point as well. Okay, and now to get this distance, we need to do 29 minus 9, which is 20 meters. So that little gap there is 20 meters. So we need that, and we still need this little 15 meters in here. So we can break out that triangle. and then we have X meters. And then we just apply our Pythagoras theorem. So we start with, because we want the hypotenuse, this version of the theory. Okay, then we substitute in what we know. And then we can find our answer. So let's have a look at our answer. Here's our calculator. So we want the square root sign. We get up our square root sign. We need to turn our calculator on, obviously. Have our square root sign. Then we type in 15 squared. Add that to our 20 squared. And we've got it all under our square root sign, so it'll do it all together. Hit the equals, and we get 25. So there's our solve for the unknown part. And our answer, or our word sentence, is the rope is 25 meters long. So there's our first word problem. We've broken it down, we've drawn some extra diagrams, we've done our working, and we've written our sentence. Let's look at the next problem. In this one, we have two hikers leaving a camp, and that camp is at P, and they're leaving at the same time. One is walking due east for 9 kilometers, and the other walks due south for 9.5. How far apart are they at that point? So we want to know how far apart they are. We know that one has gone due east for 9 k's and one's gone due south for 9.5. So if we draw that triangle, there's our point P. Here's our first guy, he's walked out to this point, that's 9 kilometers. Our other fella, he's gone down to this point, that's 9.5 kilometers, and this is the distance we want to know. X kilometers. Okay, so for X kilometers, that is our hypotenuse once again, because we have a 90-degree angle just in here. So once again, we're going to use our C equals the square root of A squared plus B squared. Find our square root sign again. We're going to have 9 squared plus 9.5 squared. Once again, we are going to use our calculator. I'm going to clear this and then do the same thing. So find the square root sign. We want 9 squared plus 9.5 squared equals, and we get 13.0862. 13.0862. But we want 1 decimal point. So we want 1 decimal place. So we cut off at that first decimal place. Look at our next number. This next number is above halfway, which means our 0 becomes a 1. So we get 13.1 kilometers. Yeah, and then our answer, or our word sentence, is the hikers, because that's what we wanted to know about. And they are approximately, it's not an exact answer, approximately 13.1 kilometers apart. So that's that problem. Nice and easy there, again, because it is the hypotenuse. For our last example, it's going to be a little bit trickier because this one's a three-dimensional puzzle, okay? But what we're looking at is we're looking at this triangle I'm going to highlight here in pink. Okay. And what that's telling us is that this triangle, if I redraw it over here as a flat triangle, we have a 5 centimeter height, and it's telling us that my diagonal across my rectangle is 10 centimeters. Okay, so that's 10 centimeters. There's my triangle. And then I want X centimeters. So I still want to find the hypotenuse. So this time it is still the square root of a squared plus b squared. Okay, and we type this into our calculator. Let's type this into our calculator. Alright, we have 5 squared plus 10 squared. Now it doesn't really matter which way around we go because it is addition. You could do 10 squared plus 5 squared. It'll get you the same result. And for this one, we have 11.1803. 11.1803. And we want that to 2 decimal places this time. So we cut it off at the second decimal place. There's the second decimal place. We look at the next number along. That one's below halfway. So our 8 stays the same. So it is 11.18 centimeters. That's it. That's applying Pythagoras' theorem to some word problems. Good luck with those questions. Hope this was informative, and see you in the next video.